There is a muscle in your calf that pumps blood upward like a second heart. After 60, this muscle weakens and the circulation in your legs plummets. The result? Cold feet, tingling, swelling, and cramps that wake you up at 3 inches in the morning. Today, I am going to teach you 5 exercises you can do sitting in your chair to reactivate that circulation. And when we get to number 1, you will understand why vascular specialists consider it more powerful than walking. I am Dr. Cezar Villareal. I have been treating leg circulation problems in patients over 60 for more than 15 years. What I am going to share today is what I have seen work in my clinical practice. As always, please consult your doctor before making changes to your exercise routine. Your heart pumps blood downward with ease. Gravity helps. But pushing that blood back up from your feet to your chest is an entirely different story. It is like trying to push water from the basement up to the 3rd floor without a pump. Your body needs an extra pump to get it done, and that pump is the muscles in your calves. Every time your calf muscle contracts, it squeezes the deep veins in your legs and pushes blood upward. Inside those veins, there are tiny valves like little gates that open with each contraction and close so the blood does not fall back down. It is a brilliant mechanical system that works every time you take a step, every time you stand up, every time you walk. That is why doctors call the calf the second heart. It is not a poetic name. It is not a metaphor. It is a real mechanical pump that your body depends on to function properly. But after 60, that pump starts to fail. Calf muscle mass decreases year after year. You move less. You spend more hours sitting. And every hour you sit still, the pump shuts down a little more. When the pump shuts down, blood pools in your legs, like a river that stops flowing and turns into a stagnant pond. The valves in your veins lose their strength. Blood accumulates. Fluids leak into the surrounding tissues, and the problems begin. Cold feet, because warm blood is not reaching your toes. Swelling around the ankles, because fluids settle where gravity pulls them. Nighttime cramps, because your muscles are not getting the oxygen they need to function. Tingling and burning, because the nerves in your feet depend on that blood to survive, and when it does not arrive, they become irritated. Researchers have measured what happens when you sit without moving your legs. Blood flow in the veins behind the knee can drop by as much as 40% in less than 2 hours. 40% less circulation just from sitting still. And this was measured in young, healthy adults. Imagine the effect on someone who is 65 or 70 years old and spends the entire morning in front of the television or the entire afternoon in a recliner. The good news is that reactivating that pump is much simpler than you think. You do not need to walk for miles. You do not need a gym membership. You do not need any equipment whatsoever. You can do it sitting in your chair, in your living room, while watching television. And the 5 exercises coming up are designed to do exactly that. Let us begin the countdown. Number 5, the silent march. This is the gentlest of the 5 and the perfect starting point. If you have been inactive for a long time, if your legs have been stagnant for months or years, this is your first step. Sit in a sturdy chair, back straight, feet flat on the floor. Now lift your right knee a few inches off the seat as if you were about to take a step. Lower it slowly. Lift the left knee. Lower it. You are marching while seated. That is exactly it. A march in your chair. It seems too simple to do anything useful, but there are 2 details that turn this innocent movement into a real exercise. First, lift with intention. Do not swing the leg with momentum. Deliberately contract the thigh muscle. You should feel the front of your upper leg tighten with each lift. If you place your hand on your thigh, you will feel it contract like someone squeezing a ball under the skin. Second, lower your foot slowly and silently. If your foot slaps the floor, you are going too fast. A controlled, silent descent means the muscle is working on the way down, too. Double the benefit in every single repetition. Double the blood pumping. The rhythm should be steady, like a ticking clock. 1 lift per second. No rushing, no pausing, steady. Robert, 72 years old, came to my office complaining that his legs felt like logs of wood by the end of every day, heavy, swollen, clumsy. Getting up from his recliner felt like dragging sandbags tied to his ankles. His daily routine had been the same for years. He sat down to watch the morning news at 8 and did not get up until lunch at noon. 4 hours without moving his legs. After lunch, back to the recliner until dinner. 8, 9 hours of sitting without interruption. I suggested that during commercial breaks he do this seated march. Nothing else. I did not ask him to walk around the house. I did not ask him to stand up. Just march in his seat during the commercials. 60 seconds each time. 4 or 5 times throughout the morning. In 2 weeks he called me surprised. The heaviness in his legs had decreased noticeably. The deep marks his socks left on his ankles were less pronounced. And something he did not expect. He was sleeping better. The nighttime cramps that woke him 3 times a week had dropped to just once. Exercise he did sitting in front of the television, without sweating, without straining, without any pain, changed something that had been getting worse for months. Do it for 60 seconds, about 30 lifts per leg. When you finish, you will feel a gentle warmth spreading through your thighs. That warmth is fresh, oxygenated blood arriving in the muscles. That feeling of warmth is the signal that the pump has been activated. That was number 5. But number 4 targets a part of your leg that the seated march cannot reach. It is a narrow, critical zone where the worst circulation problems accumulate after 60. Number 4, the unclogging circle. The ankle is one of the narrowest crossroads in your entire circulatory system. Multiple blood vessels, arteries, and veins pass through that tight space between the ankle bones. When that joint becomes stiff from lack of movement, the structures around it compress. It is like stepping on a garden hose. You do not shut it off completely, but you reduce the flow to a trickle, and everything below it, your feet, your toes, suffers the direct consequences. This exercise is simple, but its impact is profound. Sit comfortably. Extend one leg slightly forward or cross one ankle over the opposite knee. Now make slow circles with your foot, as if you were drawing a large coin in the air with the tip of your toes. Full, round, complete circles, 10 circles clockwise, 10 counterclockwise. Switch feet and repeat. The key that makes the difference between wasting your time and getting a real benefit is the speed. Slow. Very slow. Deliberately slow. If you do it fast, the muscles and blood vessels around the ankle do not have time to respond fully. Slow rotations allow each muscle to contract and relax in an ordered sequence, one after another, creating a gentle, progressive pumping effect that keeps blood flowing toward the toes instead of pooling at the ankle. Margaret, 65 years old, had feet so cold that she wore thick wool socks even in July, in the middle of summer. Her husband would touch her feet in bed and say they felt like blocks of ice. She had tried everything: hot baths before bed, electric blankets, creams that promised to activate circulation with ingredients she could not pronounce, thermal socks ordered online. Nothing solved the underlying problem because nothing addressed the real cause. Blood was simply not reaching the tips of her toes. I suggested she do these ankle circles 3 times a day: morning when she woke up, midday, and at night before going to bed. 10 circles in each direction, each foot. It took her no more than 2 minutes per session, 6 minutes a day total. In 3 weeks, the temperature of her feet had improved noticeably. She no longer needed the thick socks at night. Her husband was the first to notice. One night he touched her feet and said, surprised, that they were warm. She thought he was joking until she felt them herself and confirmed, warm, for the first time in years. It was not a magic cream or a special sock. It was moving a joint that had been virtually motionless for years and allowing blood to flow again to where it was needed most. Do 10 circles in each direction, each foot. Repeat at least twice a day. If you find a spot in the rotation that feels stiff, locked, or makes a clicking sound, do not avoid it. Go even slower through that zone. Spend a few extra seconds there. That is exactly the spot that needs the most movement. Over the course of a few days, you will notice that stiff point gradually softening. 2 exercises done. Your blood is already moving better than before you started. But number 3 combines 2 movements into one and achieve something that neither of the previous exercises can do on their own. It is a complete circulation flush from the hip all the way down to the toes. Number 3, the pedal extension. This is a 2-in-1 exercise. You activate the thigh pump and the calf pump in a single fluid movement. It is like giving your entire leg a complete circulation flush, top to bottom and back again. Sit with your feet flat on the floor. Now slowly extend your right leg forward until the knee is as straight as you can comfortably get it, roughly parallel to the floor. Do not force it. Go only as far as comfortable. Once extended, point your toes forward, away from you, like you are pressing down on a gas pedal. Feel your calf tighten and harden. Hold that position for 2 seconds. Now pull your toes back toward you, toward your shin, like you are lifting your foot off the gas. Feel the calf stretch and release. Now slowly bend the knee and lower your foot back to the floor with control. Do not let it drop. That was one complete repetition. Let me explain what just happened inside your leg, because this is fascinating. When you extended the knee, your quadriceps, the large muscle on the front of your thigh, contracted and squeezed the veins in your upper leg, pushing blood upward like squeezing a tube of toothpaste from the bottom. When you pointed your toes, your calf muscle contracted and squeezed the deep veins in the lower leg, sending another wave of blood rushing toward the heart. When you pulled your toes back, the calf relaxed and the veins refilled with fresh oxygenated blood arriving through the arteries. You just performed a complete circulation flush from your ankle to your hip in one continuous movement. Raymond, 68 years old, retired cab driver. He spent 30 years sitting behind a steering wheel 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. His legs barely moved during a work shift. Right foot on the gas, left foot motionless. 30 years like that. By the time he retired, the damage was visible. His legs were covered in small purple and blue veins beneath the skin, like spider webs. His ankles swelled every day, starting around 3 inches the afternoon, as if someone were inflating them. His doctor explained that it was venous insufficiency. The valves inside his veins were no longer sealing properly. Blood was falling backward after each pump, a problem that had accumulated over 3 decades of immobility. We incorporated this exercise into his daily routine. 10 repetitions with each leg, twice a day. 1 session in the morning after breakfast, and another in the afternoon after lunch. Within a month, the afternoon swelling had decreased visibly. It did not disappear completely. 30 years of damage does not erase in 30 days. But the improvement was so clear that his wife asked him what he was doing differently. His ankles no longer bulged over the tops of his socks at the end of the day. The heaviness was reduced. He could take his evening walks to the park without his legs slowing him down after just a few blocks. He walked farther. He came home less tired. And most importantly, he felt like his legs were responding again after years of feeling like they belonged to someone else. Do 10 repetitions with each leg. If extending your knee fully causes discomfort in the joint, extend only as far as comfortable. You do not need full extension to get the benefit. The truly important part is the pedal motion, pointing and pulling the toes. That contraction and relaxation of the calf is what activates the venous pump. You can even do just that part with your feet flat on the floor without extending the knee at all, and you still get the primary benefit of the calf pump. 3 exercises that are already moving blood throughout your entire leg, but number 2 targets the toes of your feet. The zone farthest from your heart, the first to suffer when circulation fails, and it does something that even walking cannot do. Number 2, the invisible grip. Your feet contain more nerve endings per square inch than almost any other part of your body except your hands. And they also contain small, tiny muscles that most people have not consciously activated in years, probably in decades. These muscles surround the finest blood vessels in your entire body. Capillaries so thin that red blood cells pass through one at a time. When you contract these tiny foot muscles, they squeeze those microscopic vessels like wringing out a wet sponge. They push out old, stagnant blood and draw in fresh blood, rich in oxygen. Physiologists call this the milking effect, and it happens exactly where it is needed most. at the very tip of your entire circulatory system, the place where blood has to travel the farthest to arrive and the farthest to return. Sit with your feet bare or in thin socks flat on the floor. Now curl your toes downward as if you were trying to grab the floor with them. Imagine there is a towel on the floor and you want to pick it up using only your toes. Squeeze hard. Feel the muscles in the arch of your foot working, contracting. Hold that grip for 5 seconds. Now relax completely. Let your toes go limp, loose, without any tension. That is 1 repetition. Dorothy, 70 years old, woke up every single night between 2 and 4 inches the morning with an intense burning sensation on the soles of her feet, as if she were walking barefoot on hot coals. A searing pain that forced her out of bed made her soak her feet in cold water, pace around the house until it subsided. Some nights it took an hour to fall back asleep, other nights she never did. Her doctors told her it was neuropathy, that the nerves in her feet were irritated, that they could prescribe medications to dull the sensation, but that the underlying problem had no easy fix. She tried capsaicin creams, cold baths, vitamin B supplements. The burning kept showing up night after night like clockwork. I suggested she do these invisible grips twice a day. 10 repetitions per foot, squeezing for 5 seconds each time, 1 session in the morning and another right before bed. 1 minute total per session, 2 minutes a day. The first few nights, there was no noticeable change. The burning still arrived at its usual hour, but starting in the second week, something began to shift. The burning came later. Instead of waking her at 2, it woke her at 4, and it was less intense. By the third week, some nights she slept straight through without the burning appearing at all. Those were the first uninterrupted nights in months. Within a month, the good nights outnumbered the bad ones. She was resting again. She had energy during the day again. She smiled in the mornings again. An invisible exercise, one that nobody would notice even if they were watching, gave her back the sleep she had been missing for months. Why does it work? Because when you activate these tiny muscles in your feet, you create circulation exactly where the nerves need it most. Every nerve in your foot depends on microscopic blood vessels to receive oxygen and nutrients. When those vessels are stagnant, the nerves become irritated. They burn, they tingle, they go numb. By activating the local pump in your toes, you push fresh blood directly to those starving nerves. Oxygen arrives. Nutrients arrive. The irritation goes down. The burning subsides. Do 10 repetitions per foot, twice a day. You may feel cramping at first, especially if these muscles have been dormant for years. Do not be alarmed. That is actually a good sign. It means muscles that nobody has woken up in a very long time are starting to work again. The cramping disappears as those muscles gain strength. Give it a few days. 4 exercises done, your circulation is already significantly better than before you started. But number 1 is different from all the others. It is not about isolated repetitions. It is a rhythmic, sustained contraction that activates your second heart in the most powerful way possible. It is the closest thing to walking you can do without getting up from your chair. And vascular specialists say that for venous circulation, it may actually be more effective than walking itself. Number 1. The second heart. This is the exercise that changes everything. If you could only do one of the 5, this would be the one. If you forgot the other 4 and only did this one, your legs would improve. It is the one that moves the most blood, the one that activates the deep veins most effectively, and the one that vascular medicine specialists consider absolutely essential for anyone over 60 who spends time sitting. Sit with your back straight, feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Keep the balls of your feet and your toes firmly planted on the ground. They are not going to move. Now lift both heels as high as they will go. Rise up until you are balanced on the balls of your feet. Squeeze your calves hard at the top. Feel them tighten like 2 tennis balls under the skin. Hold that squeeze for just an instant, and now slowly lower your heels back to the floor. That was 1 pump, 1 single beat of your second heart. Now, let us turn it into a rhythm. Up, squeeze, down, up, squeeze, down, like the piston of an engine. Steady, no pausing, No rushing. Imagine your calves are two hands wringing out a soaking wet towel. Every contraction squeezes venous blood upward through the valves toward the heart. Every relaxation lets the veins refill with fresh blood arriving through the arteries. Pump after pump, blood flows with a force it has not had in months, maybe in years. After about 30 seconds, you will feel a burn in your calves. That is lactic acid building up in the muscle. And that is exactly what we want. It means the muscles are working with enough intensity to make a real difference in your circulation. If the burn becomes too much, rest for 10 seconds and resume. Do not stop completely. Rest and go again. James, 74 years old, had nighttime cramps so violent they threw him out of bed screaming. His wife woke up frightened every time. 3-4 nights a week, sometimes one leg, sometimes both at the same time. That sudden, brutal pain that seizes the calf like an iron fist and refuses to let go for minutes that feel like an eternity. He had tried everything people recommended. Magnesium, supplements, potassium, pills, a banana before bed, stretches, tonic water with quinine. Nothing stopped the cramps. They kept arriving without warning, without a pattern, without mercy. I explained to him that cramps happen when muscles do not receive enough oxygen, and oxygen travels in the blood. If blood pools in the legs all day because the calf pump is not working, by the time night arrives, the muscles are starving for oxygen. They have gone 14, 16 hours without adequate blood flow. And a muscle starving for oxygen cramps. It is not a mystery. It is a direct consequence of stagnant circulation. I suggested he do this exercise twice a day, 2 minutes per session, once in the morning after breakfast and once in the afternoon around 5. And in addition, throughout the day, every time he had been sitting for more than 30 minutes, he should do 20 quick pumps, no more than 20 seconds each time. A minimal interruption that resets the entire circulation. The first week, the cramps continued, but they were less intense. They no longer made him scream. They were uncomfortable, but manageable. The second week, they dropped from 4 nights a week to 2. By the end of the month, 1 night or none, his wife stopped being frightened. He stopped dreading going to bed. He stopped lying down with that anxiety of not knowing whether tonight the iron fist would wake him or not. He went back to sleeping the full 7 hours his body needed to function properly. 2 minutes of calf pumps a day gave him back the rest and the peace of mind he had been missing for over a year. Why is this exercise number 1? Because with every calf contraction, the deep veins in your legs expel up to 70% of the blood they have accumulated. 70% in one single push upward. No other seated exercise achieves that. It is the most powerful and most efficient muscle contraction in the entire venous system of your body. And there is another reason just as important. You can do it anywhere, anytime, for as long as you want, while watching television, while talking on the phone, while sitting in the doctor's waiting room, while sitting at the dinner table. All you need is your 2 feet and the floor, nothing else. And every single pump sends a wave of blood racing from your legs back to your heart. Do 2 minutes of continuous pumps twice a day, morning and afternoon. And throughout the day, every time you have been sitting for more than 30 minutes, do 20 pumps, 20 seconds. That is all it takes to reset your circulation and prevent blood from pooling. Think of it as restarting a program that has frozen. 20 seconds and everything flows again. When the 2 minutes feel easy, there are 2 ways to make it more powerful. First, do it 1 leg at a time. Keep 1 foot flat on the floor and raise only the other heel. This doubles the workload on that calf. 20 pumps per leg. You will notice it is significantly harder. Second progression, place a thick book or a wooden board under the balls of your feet. This means your heels start below the level of your toes. More range of motion means a deeper contraction, a more complete stretch, and a stronger pump. But only try this once the basic version feels comfortable. Let us recap. Number 5, the silent march, to activate general leg circulation without standing up from your chair. Number 4, the ankle circles, to unclog the narrowest zone in your venous system and get blood flowing all the way to your toes. Number 3, the pedal extension, a complete circulation flush from the hip to the toes in one fluid movement. Number 2, the invisible grip, to pump blood directly to where the nerves in your feet need it most. And number 1, the second heart, the most powerful exercise you can do seated to push blood back toward your heart. 5 exercises, 1 chair, less than 10 minutes a day. That is all you need. Your body has an enormous capacity to respond when you give it what it needs. I have seen it in hundreds of patients throughout my career. People who thought that cold feet, cramps, swelling, and tingling were their new normal, that it was just an age thing and there was nothing to be done about it but accept it. And they discovered that their legs could still improve when they reactivated the pump that had been dormant for years. Nobody had told them that the solution was sitting in a muscle they could activate from their own living room chair. Always consult your doctor before beginning a new exercise routine, especially if you have diagnosed vascular conditions. If you are wondering what foods can help improve your circulation from the inside, including one that works as a natural vasodilator, and you probably already have it in your kitchen, that is exactly what I reveal in the next video. Do not miss it. If this was helpful, share it with someone who complains about tired legs, cold feet, or nighttime cramps. One shared video can change someone's life. Take care of your health. I will see you soon.